Welcome to Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Living the Dream, a show that celebrates ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Hear what motivated them to attain their goals. See which circumstances molded their character and turned them into everyday heroes. Learn more about this show and the hosts for Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod TV and radio on Facebook. Now here are your hosts, the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Lori Boyle.
In this episode, the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod are going to cook another recipe from Kat's upcoming cookbook, Quickie Cooking for Busy People. Oysters Rockefeller is on today's menu. Kat, who has a shell fishing license, will show us how she prepares the oysters prior to cooking them from her own kitchen.
Now that your oysters are clean, you can either cook them right away and make Rockefeller, or steam them, have them roasted, or you can eat them on the half shell, or you can actually wait a couple of weeks. If you take your oysters that have been cleaned and place them in the bottom vegetable drawer of your refrigerator and cover them with damp paper towels or cloths, you can keep your oysters alive and fresh for up to 2 weeks. And then you can serve them when you're ready. So now the oysters are cleaned and placed in the vegetable bin in the refrigerator.
Welcome back to Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod Cooking, and today we're cooking Oysters Rockefeller. I'm Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, one of your Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, and this is my sous chef, Lori Boyle, our other Wicked Housewife on Cape Cod. And today, as part of the celebration for our Wellfleet Oyster Festival, we're doing Wicked Oysters Rockefeller. Now, you probably saw on the tape how I found them, cleaned them, got them prepared, and actually some of the baking that I did with them. And again, if you saw our cooking session 1 and 2, I use a little toaster oven when I cook. And that was from when I was in Anguilla, and I talked to one of the top chefs there, which is in the British West Indies, and we were at an incredible resort. And I thought when I went down into the kitchen to see where he was cooking, lobsters thermidor and ossobuco, I would see all these huge, beautiful ovens in the wall, and what he had was a little toaster oven and a fry pan. And I was like, oh, I love this man. He can really cook. Mm-hmm. So what I did was, as in the first part of the film, I steamed my oysters open. And the reason I do that is they're not cooked all the way through. They're just steamed enough to pop open. And I do that because I don't feel like wrestling with them. This is easy Oysters Rockefeller. And after you steam them, some of them aren't all the way open, and Lori has the solution to that.
Yeah, these little tools are what you can use to open it with, and what a lot of oyster fishermen use to open it. But you can really cut yourself with this when you're opening an oyster that has not been steamed open. So that is going to give you a little advantage, and it's going to be safer to actually open an oyster that it's been steamed, after it's been steamed.
You won't lose your digits.
Right.
You won't, we don't want you to bleed for your meal. And this one here, which is just a formidable looking thing, is my dad's oyster shucker. He passed on to me after he passed away. He gave it to me just before he left the earth. And this is what he used to jump with. He was a Green Beret, and this was in his pack. And he used it for a number of things. It's one solid piece of steel, and it's really heavy. And so those are what I use to get these little jaspers open if they're being unruly. So I have combined my spinach, Pernod, and here's a little rule about Pernod. If it's not good enough to drink by itself, if you can't put it into a little shot glass, pour it in there and drink it, don't put it in your food. Anything that you add to your food, whether it's wine or any type of alcohol, if it's not good enough to drink by itself, don't put it in your food, because it's just going to make your food taste bad. A good Pernod should taste like licorice.
It smells like licorice.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's kind of green, almost like absinthe. This is excellent Pernod. It's in a green bottle, but itself, the Pernod itself, It's kind of beautifully green colored. And that's what you want. You add it to the spinach, the cheese, and the recipe that I showed you at the beginning of this. So now, yum.
That's really good, actually. Very good.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spinach mixture. I'm going to put it on my oysters by the spoonful really quick, because this is a quick recipe. And you can steam your oysters the day before your dinner party or friends coming over. And you can put the spinach on like this. And you can take it and cover it. Put it in your oven. In your refrigerator. We're not going to put it in the oven yet. Put it in the refrigerator, and it will hold there for 2 or 3 days. Because remember, your oysters are cooked, so it's going to be okay. Just put a spoonful on your oysters. It smells good already. And if you find that when you open your oysters, some of them are small, just add them to an oyster you've already got opened. Nobody's going to know the difference. Take them, add them, and what you should have when you're done is something that looks like a beautiful flower. That'll cover up all the little ends and pieces, because this is going to keep the oyster moist. So here we've got kind of like a little flower.
Right.
Looks
because
like the petals.
This is the dish that we're using, and this one came from Christmas tree. Right?
That came from Christmas Tree Shop. I paid 99 cents for it. Frugal Housewives on Cape Cod. Love, love, love Christmas tree shops.
But if you can't see it, it's got all the indentations for all the oyster shells. So that makes it a lot easier.
And it's such a beautiful presentation. And what I have here is hollandaise sauce. And I got this hollandaise sauce from Trader Joe's. Now you can go online, find a recipe, and make your own. But this hollandaise sauce from Trader Joe's is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So I just take it and I keep it in the freezer till I'm ready to use it, because most of their products are organic. Take it out, thaw it out, and put it on top of the oysters. Now these oysters are ready to go in the oven, and you're just going to bake them until they get a little browned on top. I need my big, here they are. Oh. Ta-da! I'm just going to take them, and
Fabulous.
there they are.
Oh my goodness.
Finished
Wow.
product.
That looks awesome.
And so I'm going to just pop these right in here, and you will wow your company. They will think you slaved and spent so much money. Nope, not with the Frugal Housewives of Cape Cod, it's not. Frugal and Wicked doesn't get any better than that. That's right. So the wine I like to serve with Oysters Rockefeller is a great Riesling, any Riesling, and there's a reason for that. A lot of food companies spend millions looking for the perfect sweet, salty combination. That's what sells candy. So you've got the salty Oysters Rockefeller and the slightly sweet taste of a German Riesling. It's heaven.
It is.
It's just heaven.
It's fantastic wine.
So remember, if you go and find your own oysters, and what I do is I have my license, my shellfish license. I actually pin it to the top of my little hat when I'm going out there. Yes, it's really cute. Pin it to the top of my hat, and when I see somebody who's checking to make sure that the people that are out there cohogging or getting oysters or getting clams have their license, I just tip my hat to them and put it back on my head, and they leave me alone. So put it somewhere to make it really easy on them. And then remember, you can take these oysters and you can keep them in your fridge for a few days before you use them, up to 2 weeks. You can keep them down in the section, in the bin with your vegetables.
That's fantastic. So you can have oysters all the time. And you know where to go get them too, right?
I do.
I mean, you actually dig them up.
I do. But there are some fabulous oyster farms here on Cape Cod. So some days when I don't feel like going out and hunting for them, what I will do is wait for them to be on their farm, and I'll run down there with a $20 bill. Say, how many will you give me for this? And boom, there they are. So thank you so much for joining us again on Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, as we did some wicked cooking with our wicked good Oysters Rockefeller.
Thanks for joining us.
Cape Cod is a haven for oyster lovers. In fact, every fall, the Oyster Festival is held in the town of Wellfleet to celebrate the town's deeply rooted oyster, clam, and shell fishing traditions. This 2-day family festival brings together local cuisine, music, arts and crafts, educational programs, and much more for a weekend full of flavor and fun. This is also the home of the annual highly competitive Oyster Shuck-Off competition. Let's take a look.
All right, guys, you ready to go? 3, 2, 1, go! Live shucking here in Wellfleet at the Wellfleet Oyster Fest. Keith Rose, Brad Morse. 24 oysters, each about to meet their destiny. Keith Rose has one left, staying within himself. And he lays it down, ladies and gentlemen. 209.